非常的谢谢呢这个
Well,
动
thank
呢
you.
帮我呢
Thank you,
今天呢
Dawn,
能够
for
再帮我
arranging
们介绍我们接下
this
来的这个
and
讲
allow
者
me to
今天呢
introduce
我们
to
非
you
常
the
高
next
兴的是
speaker.
能够有这个图月
It's our
的
pleasure
这
to
个
have the
杨莹
founder
莹的
of
这个
TUYUE
设计师
Project,
呢，那今天来跟我
Miss
跟我
Yang
们谈到
Yingying,
他自己自创的
who
这个
is
图月
going
品
to
牌
tell
的
us
这个
about
一个
how
他
she
的
started
过程，
with the
还有怎么
TUYUE
样子
brand,
为
the
可
process
续
of
的未
the
来去
founding,
做努力。
and
那
how she
莹莹
does
呢，这个图月的设
her
计师呢，他本
consistent
身呢自
support
己是
for
一
a
个
more
现代的这个
sustainable
艺术
future.
家。
She
那从
herself is
这
not
个
only
创设
the
这个
founder
图月
of
的这
TUYUE
个一个项
Project,
目
but
开
also
始
a
的，他
distinguished
也在
contemporary
也是广
artist.
东的时
And
尚设
starting
计
from
协
this
会的
project,
一个
she also
负责人。
started
那
to
同时呢，
become
他在
a
也得
director
到了
of
这个
the
这个广
Sustainable
东的
Fashion
top ten
Designing
的这个
Association
十
in
大的
Guangdong,
设计师的奖
also
项。
had been
那
ranked
呢，他
one
从
of
这
the
个伦
top
敦
10
在广
designers in
州的
Guangdong.
艺术学院呢
She
去
studied
18年毕
in
业。那最后
Guangdong
呢，后来
Art
呢，再到
Academy
这
and
个
graduated in
十月艺
2008,
术学院呢去研
and
习。那很多呢
have went on to
这
study in
个
Shiye Art
图月
Academy
设计
afterwards.
师莹莹她的作品呢都
Miss
是
Yang
呢
Yingying,
非常展
many
现从
of her
现代的这个
projects
艺术到
would
时
show
尚的这
the
个过程呢，是给予
combination
很多
of
至上
contemporary
的这个
art
一个
and
创作
fashion
者的一个意念。
together
那但是
with
呢，在它
her
过程里
own
面呢是非常
intention
重要
into
的
it. And of
去
course,
谈到就
within
是
that
说可
process
持
of
续的未来
creation
是
of
可以
every
从
bit of
每一个
her
设计师里
project,
面去怎么样
she
来做
wanted
努
to
力。
tell
那接
that
下来让我们
every
来
single
欢迎
designer
他
can do
来为我们
something
做今天
throughout
的
their
论
designs.
坛的分
And
享。
now let's hear from Miss Yang Yingying, please.
Hello， 大家好。
Hello, everyone.
很高兴有这个机会能在
Well,
在
it is
此跟
my
大家
great
相会，
honor
然后十
to
分感
meet you
谢
here,
FFR 的邀
and
请。
thank you very
同时
much
我的内心
FFR
还是
for
十分
inviting
忐
me,
忑，
and
因
I'm
为尽
still
可能够
quite
提供十分
concerned and
有效的信
worried and
息，
anxious.
所
I'm
以
not
只能
sure
够
if I
站在
can
个人
offer
的角度
you
上分享
the
一下
really
这几年
useful
的一些
information, but
经历
all I
跟体
can do
验。
is to stand on
拿
my
稍
own
等一下，我关
perspective
小
to
嘴
share
旁
with
边。
you about my experiences
诶，
in the past
不
years.
好意思，
Let me share my
稍等一
screen
下。
here.
没事没事。
Just a moment, please.
诶，我
Don't worry.
其实呢，在整个时尚行业呢，我
Well,
们
in the
有越
entire
来越多的
fashion
年轻设
industry,
计
we
师
do
像莹
see
莹这样子的
many
加入我们。然后
young
其实
designers
在我们
like
做一下的
Yingying
一个调
joining
查里
us,
面，
and
很
when
多的
we
这
were
个
doing those consumer
我们的
surveys,
这个新的Z 的这个族群呢，也都对可持续时
a
尚呢
lot
非常
of
非常的
people in
关
the
注。
generation
莹莹好
Z
了吗？
really paying
可以了，大家
attention
能看到
to
我的
the
屏幕吗？
sustainable
还
fashion
没办法。
industry. Now,
还
can you
没
see
看，
my
没办法
screen?
看到屏，现在可以看到屏幕了吗？
How about now?
现在看得到是你，没有看
Well,
到
we
分
do
享。
see
啊，
your
是
camera
吗？
pic, but
稍等
not
一
your
下，不好
shared
意思，
screen.
耽误大家的时间。
Is that
没
so?
事。
Oh, well, a few seconds more, please.
新的引领的这个艺术家或是设计师，
Those
他
new
们在
leading
自
designers
己的
or
行业
artists
界内的努力
within
也
their
是
own
非常
circles
非
and
常的重
industries,
要，
they
应
are
该要
making
被
great
认可
efforts
的。
and they
好，
should
好
be
的，
看到
现
了。
在可以了。好的，
recognized
哦，
as well.
好的，好
Now,
的，不好意思啊，耽误
you
了
are
大家的
seeing my
时间。
screen. And
啊，
sorry for
然
that
后呢，
delay
现在
with the
我先
technical
做一个自
glitch.
我介
Now,
绍。
I'll briefly
那我
introduce
是杨
myself
莹莹，
first. My name
是
is
图月
Yang
品牌的创
Yingying.
始人。
I am
目
the
前我
founder
呢负
of
责品牌的
TUYUE.
创意
I
跟
am in
设
charge
计，
of
同
the
时我也是
design
一
of
名艺
the
术的
brand
从
and the
业者。
creation. I'm
那
also an
在艺
artist.
术创作中呢，就会
In my
会
process
运用
of
回收材料。
art
右边的
creation,
这
I
幅
use a
图就
lot
是我
of
去年受
recycled
UCCA 的
materials.
邀请，为其
On
中
the
的一个
right
项
side,
目
you
做了
see
一
my
个艺术
UCC
创作。主要的材料
art
就是有
creation
社会
I
属性
did
的回
last
收材料，
year.
还有
These
包括
are
一些
made,
非遗
this is
技艺，
made
就
from
金绣群画的一个碎片。
collected
那
those
么图月
recycled
呢，是我在
material
2008
about
年
an
本科毕业后
intangible
创立的。初衷只是
assets
想做一个
and
承
its
载自己审
image.
美的价值的一个品牌。
Eventually,
那相
at
对
the
匹
very
配市
beginning, I
场
just
需求去
wanted
做
to have
事
my
情，我
own
会偏
brand,
向于选择
and
去
I would
创作。
more
基因
do
作
more
祟，导致这
creation
个
rather
品牌可
than
能在商业层
design
面
on
来
the
讲，它
basis
确
of
实不
the market needs. It's not commercially successful, but I really do like it because it helps me to achieve what I really want to have. For example, the interaction between art and fashion, or to turn the fashionable designs into art. So I believe it's an experimental behavior with a lot of fashion deeds in it. So now this brand has two main lines. The main line of the brand is accentuated with complex profiles, and it shows the romance of humanism in a Chinese style and expresses its originality. TUYUE, just like any other brands, has our own social responsibility. So I often think about what purpose we have in doing those. Fashion is a fast iterating industry, and big production or mass production means it's not environmental friendly. So when I do my design, I always think about putting less burden on the shoulder of Earth. And now I'd like to talk about the road of TUYUE's journey towards sustainability and for free. The first time I had a sense of crime or guilty, I found that all those wasted materials from factories would directly send to the landfills, and I asked them to send it to the other places who would still need those wasted materials, which are the leftover material. And I found very guilty putting them of no good use. So we started to do some design with those leftover materials, and they're named of a guilty conscience handbag made from leftover materials, and we give them out for free to our clients. And our feedback from them were pretty good. So eventually we started to do more creations with the leftover materials. Those garbage in ordinary regards, but actually can be turned into something very interesting and really useful. Every December, we would have a activity together with our clients. Use your old clothes that you do not wish to wear anymore, and also create or compose a story to connect herself with TUYUE, and then we would give them a new piece and turn those old clothes into our warehouses, and eventually, when it comes to a certain size, we will create another creation or project that is useful and also sensible and significant. I'm really worried about wasting. We always do those creation. We used to have bags, but eventually many clients do not accept those old garments. So when there comes a refund, we would have all those paper bags collected because these are used for once, and then we made them into recycled paper. And even though human labor costs were put into it, however, it's pretty romantic. As you see, it is now turned into another artistic creation. In 2019, I created this project all from recycled paper bags. And the concept of sustainable fashion actually came to me from another advanced designer who studies the textiles and the yarns, especially those high-end yarns. And he often travels between Milan and other important cities for yarns. And when I had the first Shanghai fashion show offline in Shanghai 2000, he made a call to me and shared with me those sustainable fashion related actions related with his yarn industry, and asked me to bring it as a long-term topic for my brand. So I started searching this material a lot online, and that was a pleasant day for me to remember, because I began to know that except for using recycled garments and materials, but there are also new materials that I can use and do something that are related to sustainable development. And then in 2020, I became known in FFR, and it took me less than a second to decide to join. And TUYUE had since then became a sustainable for free brand since then. And also, when we are appearing the principle of sustainable fashion, we have done something else. So let me share them with you. The first one is say no to overproduction in order to contain our inventory and do limited edition sales. The good thing about that is that all the clothes we make can be consumed in a proper way instead of spending quite a lot of time to think about how to sell those over high inventory. But it violates the principle of convenience producing. Many of the factories are not willing to cooperate with us. We often have to pay more or communicate more in order to have an agreement with those factories. The second thing is that to properly use every piece of garment and fabric, we have people to collect those leftover materials and have specific management and to have more reasonable cuts and designs so that every bit of those material can be really used. The one you see in the middle of the screen right now are those re-dyed leftover materials, and then to have a unified color so that it could be used somewhere else. 2021 Fashion Week Shanghai, we had an inner survivor series. We challenged ourselves by using those recycled materials for the whole series without buying any unnecessary new materials and turn them into new designs just by recombining them together. And for all these knit and knitting materials, we use the sustainable wool, as well as those tags of the clothes were actually made from the recycled paper bags I have shown you before. And the fur-free exactly fit into my mind because fur and animal cruelty is something I cannot bear with, and I will never establish a part of my brand to have fur products. And in my previous show, which is 2022 Shanghai Fashion Week, the day after tomorrow, it also discusses about the individual's relationship with the world. It expresses that the human beings is merely a part of the universe, and we need to develop, but we should do that without violating the behavior and the lives of others as much as possible. And for us, sustainable design means to provide the functionality, the usability of our products, and also give them that alternative functions, which means that if we wish our consumers to not wear fur products, that means we need to have some other things like the fall fur or other warm technology materials in order to meet the demand of the consumers. And also, educating them is quite important that wearing animal corpse are not beautiful at all. It's a concept that designers should bear that responsibility of telling that story instead of just making a product. And let me share with you another example of my past. Well, cashmere is quite common to us right now, but in 70s or 80s, not so many people in China would use cashmere, and we receive complaints from customers that they do see those issues with cashmere, that they got peeling and balling up, and after washes, they turn out of shapes, etc. So these are education process that the consumers would eventually have to know about. And this is exactly what we should do with fur-free. We need KOC and KOLs to disseminate the information about fur-free. In recent years, we used the sustainable yarns to replace most wool and cashmere. Still, there are less people buying those, but clients chose cashmere or wool materials and really value the contents, but sustainable yarns could actually be very complicated in its content table, and the price would be a little bit higher as well. So the consumers would naturally choose what they are more familiar with, also of higher quality and of a high quality, but also that they believe to be the high quality. And for TUYUE, the name of it is that we wanted to serve those targeted the customers of ours which are mostly the intellectuals. And the intellectuals, they do have a features that they can get a sense of participation in buying our products and knowing that this would contribute to protecting the environment and they would continuously support our sustainable products. And you can see there are quite a lot of sustainable materials we can use, such as wools and fabrics and plant-based textiles, etc. These are quite common because resources are abundant and easy and comfortable to wear and can meet many of the designers really those design ideas. And there are two types of wool. One is sustainable wool or responsible wool, and the other one is oceanic wool. This responsible wool means that it's traceable. You can track down to find out which sheep, what kind of a life the sheep had or is having before or after the wool were collected from sheep. And oceanic wool, it's the bottles collected from oceans and then reprocessed it into those recycled wools. A lot of those bottles we collected from ocean, 30 to 50% could be actually used in textile industries. Almost half percent of all these fibers or polyester would be collected and reused. And those new materials are very light, yet very functional when it comes to warm keeping. And to consumers, it's basically like the same feel when compared with wool or cashmere's. And the many clients, of course, when they see that this is polyester, they would naturally think polyester products are not good as the cashmere or wool products. So this is what needs our education.
Then for the fabric consumers, like for designers, I am really interested in the practicality and also the sense of aesthetics of the material. For example, for the sustainable material, if it's on par with my aesthetics and also the story behind it is really in line with my will to promote sustainability, then I would like to use it in my design. Maybe commercially speaking, the use of sustainable material is still in the experiment phase, but still for the fashion shows, I would be very brave to use a lot of sustainable material, but maybe for commercial use, we cannot use a lot of sustainable material because on one hand, we don't have abundant choices to make for the sustainable material. The other is that the will to accept sustainable material among the consumer is not that high. So what I would do is that I want to use design to draw people's attention and improve their interest. Then we can really do it, in a step-by-step approach. Finally, this is for discussion. So the challenges and the outlook in the sustainable fashion future. So there are several issues that we ran into. We already mentioned that for a consumer, for them to accept this, they need a lot of time to accept it. So basically, the economics just doesn't work. So without a lot of support for the fabric manufacturers and for the designers, they need to work together. For example, for TUYUE, we can do like the knitting project. We got the support from a pioneer, and also for the yarn. If we don't do a proper job, it may harm the cost economics. But this pioneer has some history with my family, and he also wanted to promote this, so we aligned and really make that happen. But it's really rare that you can get alliances like that. The second issue is the extension of the first one. As for a brand designer that is really open to new material or sustainable material, it's really hard for me to get some company in this field. So in March this year, I really wanted to really enlarge the topic or the theme of sustainable material. I wanted to use some of the material that I haven't used before. So I contacted some sustainable material manufacturers and I wanted to check their fabrics. And some of the companies, they just say that we don't need this. But some of the companies said that, well, there's no discount. So if they only provide a small sample and then I would have to decide whether we have a big order to them, it's really hard. And then, of course, I succeeded in cooperating with some companies. One company did the sustainable material in replacing fur, and I tried it. I thought that it can really replace fur because we can dye and print on it, but we didn't realize cooperation because the time is an issue. We cannot make it in a short period of time. So we have to work together in the future. So the ultimate purpose of this presentation is that I hope that more fabric companies can really keep an open mind in cooperating with the designers, because for the domestic brands, they are really booming. And China has this kind of accumulation of traditional Chinese culture. It's easier in this atmosphere to promote zero fur. If we get the support from the upstream, we really can go forward with this new concept. That is my presentation, and thank you FFR for this opportunity. And I hope that in the future we can get to know more peers so that we can really promote the sustainable fashion. And if you're interested in me or my company, or if you're interested in cooperating with us, you can contact me through FFR. Thank you.